Welcome. It's still Good Morning Anambra show. Now, the Anambra State government has just concluded a 3-day retreat for members of the executive and legislature from the 20th to the 22nd of August 2023, held at the Golden Tulip Hotel, Agolo. And this is all done to ensure that there is a robust legislative executive relationship we are talking about here is to see that the leadership in place works perfectly with each other to ensure a good Anambra state. And in the studio this morning, we've been joined by two gentlemen, Barrister Joseph Ayante. Barrister Joseph Ayante is a barrister at law and the public affairs analyst. Good to have you in the studio.
Thank you. Good morning. And good morning, viewers.
We also have Paulson Okeke, an active citizen and public affairs analyst. Welcome to the studio.
Good morning, viewers. Join us this morning for this interaction.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. Remember, the program is audience participatory. When the time comes, we'll let you know, and we open our phone lines for you to call and make your own opinion count this morning. All right, let me start with you, Paulson. What's your assessment of the just concluded retreat all gets towards ensuring a robust relationship between the legislature and the executive arms of government in Anambra State?
Well, thank you very much. The retreat between the executive and the legislature in Anambra State is a very good thing because it will enhance cordiality in the working relationship between the executive and the government and the legislature. It is so because it is always expected that when there is harmony between the executive and the legislature, there are bound to be good governance. Because it is always expected that there should be a symbiotic relationship, a top-notch relationship, so that the governance will be very, very easy. Ordinarily, it is always said that democracy is always built on a tripod of executive, legislature, and the judiciary. But amongst these, the first two, they are expected to work together so that administration governance will be very easy. And it is also expected that the legislature should kind of checkmate the executive. That's why it is said that it is always based on checks and balances. That whenever there are things that should be done, the executive will go to the legislature to get approval, to seek approval. We want to do this, we want to do this. One of such things is the budget. Whenever at the end of every year, the executive or the head of the executive, being the governor, will present a budget to the legislature, and legislature will look at it, go through it, and say, okay, we are going to do this. And they do it together. So it is a partnership that will ensure the growth or enhance the growth of the state.
All right. Now, Barrister Ayante, I don't know, why do you think it is important at this point that the legislative arm of government and the executive arm are having a retreat to ensure their relationship is, is good enough to foster development in Anambra State?
Thank you very much. Apart from having that retreat this period, I believe anytime such seminar comes up is very important. You see, when we have a situation where the legislature will come up in a round table discussion with the executive, it will enhance the promotion of rule of law. Because most of the times you see that the executive rascality becomes a kind of hindrance to progress of the state. And in such discussion also, it will give them the opportunity of trying to understand their functions, their powers and limitations. The legislature has a duty to make laws, and the executive equally has a duty to implement those laws. So by the time they gather together, then that will give them the chance to, if actually they are serious, to look into the face of the executive and say, look at some of the laws we've made. Possibly you've violated. And we don't think this will promote democracy. What do we do? Then executive will equally bring to the table some of the challenges the executive may be facing because of inability of the legislature to cooperate. So they will do what? Harness some of these issues. So the seminar coming up at this point is very good, because I don't believe that democracy is all about the legislature fighting the executive, executive fighting legislature. No. When you do this, then there's an adage that said, when two elephants fight, the grass will suffer. We remember those days when State House of Assembly will go down to Asaba to impeach the sitting governor, and the people will go, even go to the extent of this former Senate President Kadebo moving the mayors from National Assembly Abuja to his house, to Bunike here. So that was between 1999 to 2003 and 2007. So the rapport we're having between the executive and the legislature is actually helping the democracy. But we are kind of putting up warning that romance should not go beyond
the ankle.
Exactly.
Okay, I was trying to ask, because
yes,
when,
so that people will not begin to see them as rubber stamps.
Yes, when he was trying to analyze the retreat,
yes,
you know, he keeps talking about relationship, and what came to my mind was, you know, the kind of relationship that we expect to ensure that when the executive need to be called to order, they should be called to order. Then when they need to dialogue over issues, it should be done properly. So what kind of relationship are we looking at here?
The relationship here is know your function, face your business, let me face my business. You see, there was a time, sometime last year, when National Assembly, they were busy discussing whether they have the right to invite Mr. President to talk to them on insecurity. Some of them were kind of saying, no, we don't have the right to invite Mr. President. And I was surprised, because these laws are there. In the Constitution, when you read Section 88, you read Section 89, you see the oversight function of the National Assembly. Then the State House of Assembly is a creation of Section 90. And when you read Section 90 down, you see their functions. So you have that oversight function, like the National Assembly has the right to invite, the Constitution says, invite anybody. When you say anybody, Mr. President, Mr. Governor, inclusive. So when the legislature is aware of its function, if the governor of the state goes beyond that, you call him to order. And that's why you have the provision for impeachment.
In other words, each order is there to checkmate the
That
excesses.
is the checks and balances he rightly said.
That's what I have just
Okay.
Yeah, he said it earlier.
Okay.
Checks
I said
and
it,
balances.
yeah.
You don't romance.
Okay.
Two of you will be moving towards aroma, but you don't need to meet each other. Go face your track, like in the field. Face your track, move. I face my track, I move. But what do we have today? The governors are all over the places, both judiciary and the legislature. They control everything. The independence of the legislature, the independence of the judiciary is only on paper. I read it when I was in secondary school.
Oh, all right.
The
Now,
government.
all right.
But
Now,
up to this moment, after so many years, we still can't practice that independence.
Paulson, now, for the benefit of those watching us, what is it supposed to be, or how is it supposed to be, the relationship between the executive and the legislature in the first instance?
He has said it. Independence of the executive is there. The independence of the legislature should be there as well. There should be no point of one usurping the powers of the other. But unfortunately, in our own democracy, it's only the executive that matters in our own democracy. And that is why it is very bad. And that is why people like us keep on saying that military hangover amongst anybody that finds himself in the executive position is still there. Because that big brother, I am the big brother because I am the executive, is always the problem we have in the country. Where the governor who enjoys the executive power believes that he will also dictate for the legislature and even the judiciary. So it should not be. Because one is that in as much as they are expected to work in harmony to ensure good governance, but the problem we are having is that one has deliberately and forcefully usurped the powers of the others.
Which is not supposed to be
Which is
so.
not supposed to be. It is unfortunate because now we are a situation where the legislatures will make a law or will pass a law and the executives will ignore the law and goes ahead to do what they want to do. It should not be.
Okay, Auntie, now do you think this hampers growth and development of any nation or state, owing to the fact that the leadership is about the people? Do you think what he described hamper growth and development?
Yeah, of course. No sane person will like to be in a country where rule of law is disobeyed. Nobody. You want to come to, for instance, Anambra here to put up a business, and you discover that the governor can wake up early in the morning and use caterpillar to smash everywhere. Why will you be here? Even when there's a court order. Look at what is happening to Emefiele, for instance, now. If the young man has done anything, why should you keep him in detention all this while? You are now the lawmaker, you are the prosecutor, you are the persecutor, and you are the judge in your own case. And that is where we are having these questions. What is National Assembly doing about it? Because Section 8(9) say you can invite anybody. If that young man is being detained unlawfully or beyond the provisions of our Constitution, why can't National Assembly now say, DSS, come, we want to hear from you. Why are you keeping this man? Even when court has said, release him. Release him in some condition. And sometimes you see even the judiciary is handicapped. The judge will not question, why did this happen? At the end of the day now, the judge that gave that bail to Emefiele will not even have the audacity to ask DSS, why did you disobey my order? For instance, Nnamdi Kanu is still in detention. When Court of Appeal has discharged all the charges against him, there's no fresh charge against him. Up to today, the National Assembly is playing politics. It came up for the last 2 weeks they were talking politics. Because the Constitution says you can invite anybody. That is the word. So why can't you invite these people and say, why are you disobeying the court? Because three of them are working together. The executive, the judiciary, and the legislature. And they slap on any of them. It's a slap on the other. So if you are at the National Assembly, you are busy putting prayers, like Fabio is putting prayers in prayer box for all the members, instead of asking questions. Somebody came for screening. You said, bow and go. And today, there's scandal that one of the ministers is. So what happened between DSS when that person underwent DSS screening and that of the Senate? So who is not doing his job here?
All right.
So when you have a rule of law, when you have these people working harmoniously, then people will come in to invest. In Anambra, if you have, for instance, if the governor obeys court order, because that is where the executive rascality normally comes from. The court will give order, and because judges don't talk, you just flout their order. And you still come back to the same court, asking court to do something for you. What is good for the goose is also good for
all right.
And he who goes to equity must go with clean hands.
All right. Paul said, now, I don't know. This issue of executive and legislature, there is this saying that there is no smoke without fire. What actually do you think could make them not to have a smooth relationship that could help them to work effectively for the good of the masses?
You see, I will always say, maybe where the legislature refuse to deliberately do not know their responsibilities, and the executive will be playing with them, will be just rubbing it on their faces. But what do you say? A situation where during election time, the executive will dole out money to sponsor members of the legislature to win elections. So do you expect that when they come to the chambers, they will raise their voices against the executive? No, it is there because they've been kind of bought over. So they will not raise their voices. And the executive will be at liberty to behave the way, flagrantly, the way they like. Because they will say, is it not me that put them there? You will emasculate their powers. You will dictate for them what to do. And in such, there will be such robust relationship any longer. It can only be the relationship between master-servant, kind of. And such does not augur well for a democracy that is expected to be vibrant. A House of Representatives, a House of Assembly, is always expected to be truly representative of the people. Because when you are a member of a House, either Senate, House of Representatives, or a House of Assembly, you are representing a people. So you are expected to give a good account of yourself whenever you are in the chambers. Present the problems of your people. Make cases for your people. So that at the end of the day, you'll be able to make a law that X, Y, Z thing will be done in constituency A or B or C.
All right. The program is Good Morning, Anambra, towards a robust legislative, executive relationship. And we're going to take a short break here. When we return, we will come back home to look at the Anambra State House of Assembly and, of course, what is expected of them to have a robust legislative executive relationship. We'll be right back.
They will work according to their bylaws. Each of them, the executive, should stick to what belongs to the executive. Why the legislative will do the legislative work. Once they keep to their own rules, each other, they will work effectively. The problem is when the executive now wants his will to prevail over the legislative arm of the government. That is where there is problem. But for them, if they can stick to what they are expected to do, that will be okay. And it will bring good governance. Like in Anambra State, it is the duty of the legislative arm of the government to approve budget.
There's a lot of gaps in the modern world because there's a lot of new technologies that the legislators are not able to do the proper oversight role that they're supposed to do because they don't have the capacity to do those roles. So why are they even worrying about this other side if they can't even do their own part based on the fact that they don't have enough expertise to play their role? So that said, you know the world we are in, like in this state. The states themselves, the executive have too much power. And in the sense that, as far as I'm concerned, we have petty dictatorships in all these states because they have too much power. They put too much stress on the legislators, and most legislators, they cower to them. So it's very difficult. I don't know how they will change that if these legislators are not a little more independent. Judiciaries are, which they started in the past government under Buhari by saying that the judiciary will have their finances on their own, have all the resources, the local government and state all in one. So it puts a lot of pressure and they puts them in a situation where they want to influence the judiciary and all this other stuff. So let them do those, have elections in the local areas so that these people are independent, have proper demarcations of who runs the markets and all these other packs and things. It will create a lot of room, and then the judiciary should have their direct resources go to them so that they'll be able to manage their costs.
My opinion is that legislative will do their own work, as they like. And the executive will also mind their own business, so that if there is any people or any problem among them, they will come and ascertain from those people, not to combine the thing to spoil everything. If somebody is doing something and doing it well, you leave that person. But there's something may try to, somebody or some group may start to do well. Some other group will come and intervene and see that thing is scattered. So it's better the legislative will stay on their own and the executive will stay on their own and work together in a partial way, not to combine them together.
I believe there should be a synergy between the judiciary and the executive, and that's why most of the time governors would like the legislature to be in agreement with him, we are doing the same party, so that whatever he sends to the legislature, they can easily approve. And I believe that when there is this synergy between the legislature and executive, things will move on well.
Those were voices of Anambra there on the streets talking about what they feel should be done for a robust legislative-executive relationship. And the program is still Good Morning Anambra. I still have in the studio Paulson Okeke and Barrister Joseph Angante looking at what should be done. Like I said earlier, that we need to come home. Let's see, what actually do you think the current legislative and the executive in Anambra State should be doing to ensure a robust relationship?
Yeah, the retreat is one good thing they have done because, one, it will help to streamline the functions and present the problems each section, each part of the government is having, either from the executive part or from the legislative part. They will now discuss the way forward. One, from Grapevine, we heard that the legislature here, especially the new members, have not been given vehicles to operate. So it will give them the opportunity to present this problem to the executive, that they have not been given vehicles to do their assignments, to be attending to sessions.
In other words, you suggest the retreat should be done from time to
No,
time?
yeah, it should be every time, perhaps every 1 year.
Okay.
They should do a retreat to keep the executive abreast of the problems, while the executive at the same time present their own side of the problem, either from lack of cooperation or delay in passage of bills and whatever. They present them so that the essence of all these things will be that we should not work at cross purposes. And we should all work for the interests of the Anambra to ensure good governance. So that is it. That is one thing that should be done regularly.
Okay. All right, Anyanja, apart from the retreat, what other things do you think could be done?
No, I think the retreat is always an avenue for them, like he's rightly said, for them to come up with some of their demands. Like he rightly said, some of them have not been given the vehicle. I think, apart from the seminar, the executive should on his own know what to do at any point in time. It's very unfortunate that up to this moment, the lawmakers have not been given vehicle. I don't think that is good for that arm of government. And that is why we've been talking about their independence, so that their money will come direct from the consolidated revenue from federal allocation. Because when you now begin to dictate what goes to the judiciary or what goes to the legislature, you are actually curtailing their functions. So apart from the seminar, the governor who is, and I want to put this across, the three arms of government, that's the legislature, the judiciary, and the executive, none of them is bigger than the other. I want to put it very so, because some of the executive rascality we normally see, I don't know where that is coming from. And it's because the House of Assembly... To be more
superior.
Because House of Assembly is not, or the National Assembly is not really aware of their oversight functions. Because if the governor messes up, or the president, you call him to order, you bring him to the table through impeachment. When the motion is on, the governor will begin to run from pillar to post. You call him to order.
And make promises of change.
A member representing Ayamelum, for instance, came to House of Assembly with a keke. And there's nothing wrong in that. Yeah. He came to sit, and then the security man asked this keke person to start, and he said, no, I'm here for business. Is it a must that I must come on vehicle? And moreover, the governor have not assigned any to us. So I can choose anything I'll come to work with. And that is true. So why should the governor wait? Then if you have a new judges, you still wait. If you have magistrates, you don't know that you need to. Mobility is the first thing you need to give these people. That is why you see some people, before you can do anything, even in the village, you first of all give yourself mobility. Because that will give you access to other things. So why should the executive wait till this moment for you to put the House of Assembly in order? Give them what will help them to work. That's the point. So apart from the seminar, on its own, the executive should know what to do. Then if the executive is not coming up with that, the lawmakers should do something to put him on his toes, so that the governor will come. If governor comes up with anything for approval, you say no, we will not do it. Yes. If I am in the House of Assembly, you know, if you're a governor, you can't do any nonsense now. We'll fight it now. You can't call me.
All right.
The House of Assembly members are elected by their people. So you can't just, when they tried recalling Dino Mile, he didn't succeed. Because he was very vocal. He was talking. We want to see people at the National Assembly talking. We want to see people at the State House Assembly talking, representing the mandate, representing the needs of your people. You don't just go there and say, Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, and people will be clapping. No.
All right. All are geared towards ensuring good governance
Good
for the
governance.
people of the state. Now, I don't know what could be the consequences, you know, when there is no robust relationship between the executive arm and legislative arm of government.
The consequences is that we have bad governance. And that bad governance does not spell well either for the executive or for the legislatures. Because at the end of the day, at the judgment, the people will say, but you were there for 4 years. What did you achieve? You were there to fight. They will say you are the governor. You went there, you did not do anything. And any excuse will be lame excuse because nobody will justify you for being there for 4 years. You did not make any impact. It is all expected that for 4 years, you are in a place, you are supposed to leave a footprint. How do you leave a footprint? By working in harmony with those you are supposed to work with. That's why I said earlier that there should be a symbiotic relationship where executive believes he is important. Then you still look at the legislature as very, very important too. Then both sides of the government are very, very important to having a good governance and having a fruitful administration at the end of every tenure. None is less than the other, like my brother here said. None is less than the other. Every segment of government is very, very important. But it's unfortunate that one will always believe I am the big brother, I should tell you what you should do because I'm the big. It's unfortunate. It is not done anywhere.
Okay, we could go on and on, but I think that's the much time could allow us to take on the program for this morning towards a robust legislative executive relationship. I would like to thank you so much, gentlemen, Barrister Joseph Ayante and Paulson Okeke. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you. Next time they have this kind of seminar, let them also remember there's need for local government election.
Okay. All right. And that's it on today's episode of Good Morning, Anambra. Thank you so much for being here. Until tomorrow. My name is Nonye Nwokoye. Goodbye.